Hey guys, James here with Northwest HVAC in Spokane, Washington. I know it's been a while since I've done a video. I've been pretty busy, but I've been wanting to make it a point to get a new video out to celebrate the fact that we've hit over 500 subscribers on this channel. So I thank you guys very much for subscribing, and I wanted to reward you by getting a new video out. I know I've been slow about it, but hopefully we can fix that. We hit 500 subs a little bit earlier in the school year, but we've been busy with end of the year stuff and a couple projects I needed to take care of here in the lab. So here we are now getting around to making another video. This particular video is going to be about gas piping, the piping part of the Mechanics 1 test that you guys need to know to pass the written part of the test. So it's kind of a continuation of the oral exam video that I made before. Also, I wanted to amend that oral exam video a little bit. I don't want to make a new one and repost it because that one has so many views. It's kind of a valuable video, but I do want to add that we made a little bit of a change to part of it, and that would be the long-term shutdown procedure that I had previously talked about in my video. Contractors and the gas company don't like us to sabotage units and disable safeties. It just makes it a problem for everybody. So what we're now doing on the oral exam test is we're talking about red tagging the unit, and we use a 2-2-2 rule. Disconnect 2 power, disconnect 2 gas, and notify 2 people. Typically that's the customer and one other person for CYA purposes. And then of course you're going to hang your red tag and get the copies to all the appropriate people. That being said, thank you guys again for the 500 subs. Hopefully next week I'll be able to put out another video for Gas Mechanics 1 venting, and hopefully that will help you guys when you're practicing and studying for your venting. And so the theory would be we'll have it all in one place, the oral exam, piping, and venting, kind of all on one page, my page. Again, thank you guys for subscribing, and here is your gas piping video. Okay, so gas piping. What we want to do is, the first thing we want to do with the easy handy dandy method is we want to take, and I'm going to do this in different colors so that we can kind of see a representation here. So we want to take our lengths and we want to add them away from the meter. So in this case that way. Here's the meter over here. So we want to take our lengths away from the meter. Then we want to take and we want to total our BTUs starting at the end. So this would be the end of the line. We want to take our BTUs and we want to total them that way, back towards the meter. So blue representing lengths, purple representing BTUs, and I'll use black to put my answers in. So one of the first places we get messed up here is our adding. So I streamline this so that we can add everything once, and then we can go back and just look in the book and start plugging numbers in. Another place where we get messed up is the correct amount of length to use for a given section of pipe. And I'm going to rectify that in just a second here. So let's start by getting our lengths. So we'll take our blue here, and we see that from here to here, that says that's 5 feet. So I put my 5 right at the T there, 5 feet. I put my length at every T because later I can go back and I can add any drops that might come off of that 5 feet. So my next length of pipe is this L here. I got 10 plus 30. So I have 40 more feet plus that 5. So here at this tee, I'm going to put 45 feet. Now we're ignoring all these drops for now. We're just worrying about our main trunk line. So after that, I have 20 and 15, which puts us at 65, 75, 80. So it puts us at 80 feet right here at this tee. So we're 80 up to that point where this drop is. Now the last bit we have here is 42 feet. So 42 and 80 is 122. So my length here is 122. So what I want to do so that I can get my proper length to use for my proper totals is I want to take and figure out what my longest run is, which in this case is that 122. And this one's a single direction pipe. Here in a second I'll do a 2-direction pipe, so we'll have a decision we have to make on which one is the longer of the two. But for now we just have the one pipe, the one directional pipe. So our longest length here be 122. So what I want to do is take a highlighter, and I want to take my highlighter and I want to highlight that 122, just the main trunk pipe of that 122, not any of the drops, but just that main trunk. I want to highlight that back all the way to my meter. My yellow's starting to fade on me, but we got it. Okay. Now I want to take it, I want to highlight this 122. So now I can tell myself that any pipe that's in that yellow, any pipe that's highlighted, needs to be at 122 feet. Notice these 3 drops are not highlighted. So we don't worry about them yet. We do those after. For now, we want to get our trunk line on. But first we need our BTUs. So I'm going to use the purple to represent BTUs. And remember, we start at the end, we add our BTUs going back. You could have your total BTUs and subtract them like Gray Furnace Man does on his video, but I find it easier to add versus subtract. So I start on the opposite end of where the meter is, and I will start adding my BTUs. For example, this pipe we see only has the 50,000 on it. So I'll write 50K right here. Then when it comes to this pipe, we see that it's got 150 on it. It's got both of these 2 units on that L-shaped pipe there. So right here, I'll write 150K. Okay, so that takes care of us all the way back to here. Now this piece of pipe, this next L shape, we're picking up another 120. So I have 150 plus the 120, that gives me 270. So on this piece of pipe right here, I have 270K. And then last is this piece of pipe right there, and that's got the whole lot on it. So it's grabbing this extra 100 here. So that short piece of pipe right there is 270 plus 100, so we have 370K right here. Now because I did this all ahead of time and I laid it all out nice, I don't have to keep going back and adding. One of the mistakes we make is when we're adding, we'll go to our calculator. If I try to add these runs every single time, you might accidentally hit the wrong number or miss a digit or something on your calculator. This way, we add it up right the first time and everything's in there. And now all we have to do is go back and start plucking numbers out of the book. So in the 2021 version of the IFGC, it's page 4-4. And it would be table 402-4 bracket 2. So we can see here 404-4 bracket 2, schedule 40, natural gas less than 2 psi, 0.5 inch of water column, and specific gravity 0.6. The key here is less than 2 psi and 0.5 inch of water column pressure drop. But the table is 402 for bracket 2. So now that we've got all of our numbers laid out on our pipe problem that we're trying to solve, we can go back and just start plucking numbers. Now, I like to start with the furthest one away, work my way back to the meter, but technically you could start here, and then here, then here, and then here. But I like to just kind of start at the end and work my way through. So what we're gonna do is, first we're gonna concentrate on these numbers that are along the yellow line. Because as you've been taught in class, anything along the yellow line is your trunk, and that needs every piece of pipe on that trunk needs to be done at 122 feet. So if you look in the book, it actually is 125 feet. So we never go down. We would never go down to 100. So 122 is going to put us at 125. So we're going to be pulling numbers off the 125. And what we see here is when we go down to the 125, we go down to this 125, the first total we need is 50K for that piece of pipe right there. So at 125 feet, the first one I come to is 44, it's not enough. So I gotta go up to this next one, which is 92. When we go to the top of the chart, it shows 3/4. So that means this piece of pipe needs to be a 3/4. So this right here, 3/4, basically that piece to this piece. It's all 3/4. Now I'm going to go to the 150. This part of my yellow. Everything on yellow stays at 125. So now that's 150. I come down here on my 125. 44 is not enough. 92 is not enough. 173 works. So coming up to the top, I see that that's a 1 inch. So this piece of pipe right here is a 1 inch. Next is this piece of pipe. We see that that's got the 270K on it, still at the 125 feet because it's still yellow. So 125 feet. Coming down to 270K, we got 125 feet. That 173 is no longer enough. We got to come over to this 355. Come on up to the top, you see it's a 1 1/4. I understand maybe you can't see my book super clearly on the video, but my assumption is that you have your own book and that you've been through the class and you are merely just kind of trying to practice this and get it down. So you should be able to have your own book out during this video and looking over at these numbers to match them up with what I'm doing here. So our last bit here is a 370K. Again, since it's on the yellow, we're staying at the 125 feet. So we come down to our 125 and we come over till we get a number bigger than 370, which in this case the 355 won't work anymore. So we're going to go to the 532. That tells me I need a 1 1/2. So this piece of pipe right here is 1 1/2. So now my trunk line's done. I just have my 3 drops to do. So at this point I'll go and I'll cross out my 122 because we're not using that anymore. What we're now going to do is our individual lengths from the meter of this one, that one, and that one. Now because I was smart and I set this up ahead of time, I got 5 feet to there. So all I got to do is add that 15. And I see that this one here is 20 feet. Same thing down here, that's 45 to there. So that means that extra 5 makes this 50 feet. And then 80 feet to there means this extra 10 makes that 90 feet. Now going back to my book, I'm going to be looking at 90 feet, 50 feet, and 20 feet. So the first one I want to look at is 90 feet with 100K on it. So come down to 90 feet. 52 is not enough. 110 is good. That means that's going to be a 3/4. Okay, this one here is a 3/4. Next, we're going to go to 50 feet at 120K, 120,000. So come down to 50 feet, 120K, 72 is not enough, 151 is enough. Go up to the top, that's a 3/4. So this one here is also a 3/4. And lastly, we got 20 feet with 100K. That's probably going to be 1/2 inch, but let's check anyway. 20 feet. First one's 118. We're good on that. Go to the top. 1/2 inch it is. So that one's a 1/2 inch. So here in a second, I'm going to do this again on a 2-way. Again, I'm assuming you've been taught the basics of how to pipe gas already, and that this video is merely being used as a study guide to learn this more streamlined format and just to get better at it. So if you can't quite see my book, you have your own book. You can follow along that way. But this is my streamlined, easy peasy method of keeping everything straight on the paper so that it's real easy just to go to the book and plug in numbers, and you only got to add everything once. So here in a second, I'll do the 2-way. Okay, so now we're going to do a 2-way. So we'll have a decision to make as to what's our longest length, and I'll show you guys how to handle that. Where can I write my info here? Let's say we will do, like before, we'll do our lengths. Now in this case, the meter's down here in the middle. The pipe goes to the right and to the left. So I'm going to do my lengths going both ways, like that, but starting right there in the middle from the meter. So I'm going to go do my lengths away from the meter. And then, like before, I'm going to do my BTUs coming back towards the meter, like that, from the right in and from the left in. So just like I did before, we have to make sure we count this 5 both ways, because it's 5. If we basically take away this side of the pipe system, we have a single pipe system this way, including that little 5 stub to the meter. And then if I take away that side, then we have a complete system this way, including that 5 stub to the meter. So that's got to be counted both directions. And what kind of makes this method work is the fact that if we count that 5, we go to every T, just like I did on the last one. So for example, it's 5 feet to that T. From the meter to that T is 5 feet. Now pick a way. I'm going to go to the right first. From that T to that T, we're adding another 10. So 5 plus 10, that means that this T here is going to be 15. Now we have another 10, 20, 40, plus that 15 means all the way to the end is going to be 55. 55 feet. So that side's established. Now let's go this way. We already got our 5 feet to that T. We want to go to that T now. That's another 10. So to here we got 15 feet. Now from there we got to go to this next T. So we got 20 plus 15 makes 35. Plus that 8 makes 43. So got 43 to right here. And then we got to decide which one of these is longer. So 40, we got to go to the ends now. So 43 plus 7 is 50. Plus another 5 is 55. So it's 55 to here. And 43 plus 10 Means it's 53 to here. And so it doesn't matter which side we call our longest length. It could be this 55 or it could be that 55. All that matters is you have to decide which of these two sides is your longer length, because that pipe, that short 5-foot piece to the meter, has to be counted on the longest of the two sides. So let's say that one was 65 and that was 55. Then we would do this whole side at 65, including that stub from the meter. We wouldn't leave that for the 55 side. That needs to be included in the longest side. In this case, they're both 55. And okay, so maybe you're wondering, what do I do with the highlight thing? Well, you could either use 2 color highlighters or you could just do one at a time. So you figure out your longest length. Let's say it's this 55. And like we did before, we're going to highlight this line, just the trunk line, basically the straight line back to the meter. We're going to highlight that. So now we know everything along that highlight, not that drop, just these pipes here, needs to be at 55 feet. Okay, so if you want, I suppose, you really want to get fancy with it, you could take another highlighter and you could take your second longest length and you could say, okay, now everything on that length back to the meter, not the drops, just the main trunk, that has to all be done at 55 feet. Could do that. Or you could do the one side and then go back and then highlight the other side. Could do it that way too. Either way, I'm trying to make this easy on you, so if you have 2 highlighters, sure, do it that way. You for sure need to make sure you highlight the first one, including your 5-foot stub to your meter. So we haven't done our BTUs yet. So remember, our BTUs we're going to add back to our meter. So first case scenario, we're going to take this piece of pipe right here, this little U-shaped thing. It normally would probably be straight, but paper's only so big. That U-shaped thing, it's got 40,000 BTUs on it, 40K. So right here on this answer slot here, we're going to put 40K next to it. Now we want to care about this piece of pipe. Not this stub yet, just that piece right there. And that piece is providing 240. The 200 plus the original 40. So this right here, we got 240K. Now going back and adding from this side, we see that this pipe alone has got 50K on it. So this answer right here will be at 50K. But then when we come back to this U-shaped piece, that's got the 50 and the 100 on it. So this piece of pipe right here, that's got 150K on it. Now that takes us all the way back to here. So now we have this last little blue stub here. And that's picking up another 75. So 150 plus 75 gives us 225. So now when we add those together, because we have to account for this little stub right here. This stub is carrying the whole load, all the BTUs for both sides. So we need to add these together, 240 plus the 225. So this stub right here, we're going to size that at 465K. Like that. So now I have all my BTUs in, I have all my lengths in. So now I can just go to the book like we did before. Same page, 4-4, table 402.4, bracket 2. And like I said, I like to start on the end work my way back. So I'm looking for purple stuff. So anything on the yellow, I need to do at 55 feet. Anything on the blue, I need to do at 55 feet. So we'll start with this 40K on this piece of pipe right here, this U-shaped thing. We got 60 feet. I say 60 because when you look in the book, it goes 50 to 60, so there's no 55. So we're going to be using 60 feet, 40K. So we're going to look that up. 60 feet. The first one's 65, so that's enough. So that would be ½ inch. So this one right here would be ½ inch. And that's done. Now, never mind this drop, we're going to do that later. We want to do the 240 now. 240 is on a yellow, so that means it needs to be 60 feet. 60 feet, 240K. So 60 feet, 65 is not enough. 137 is not enough. 257, that'll work. That makes that a 1 inch. So this piece of pipe's a 1 inch. Ignore this, that was a typo from the creator. Now, we still got to do our meter piece because we're still working on yellow, right? We still got to do our little 5 feet from the meter to that first tee. So that's going to be 60 feet, 465K. So just like we did before, come down to 60 feet, come over till we get a number bigger than 465, which is that 528. Come up to the top, we see that's a 1 1/4. So this piece of stub right here is 1 1/4. So now we're done with this yellow. We can cross that out. We're done with that. Now let's do our blue. We're not going to do this drop. We're not going to do this drop. We're just going to do everything along the blue all the way back to here. So like I said, I start on the end. So we're doing this L-shaped piece here. And we see that that's 60 feet, 50K. So just like we did before, come down to 60. And the first slot's 65, so that's enough. So that'll be a ½ inch. So this unit right here is a ½ inch. Now we're going to do this U-shaped piece right here. And we already marked ahead of time that this U-shaped piece has the 150 on it. It's carrying both of those units. So at 55, 60 feet, 150K. So 60 feet, 137 is not enough. We'll go to the 257. That's going to give us a 1 inch. Last piece of pipe here is this last straight piece of blue pipe. Staying on 60 feet, 225K. So we got 60 feet. That 257 is enough. So that too will be a 1 inch. This will be a 1 inch right there. So now I'm done with that 60 feet. Now I want to do my drops. I got 1, 2, 3 drops. Well, because I wrote right here ahead of time, 43 plus 10, we already got that 53 in there. And then we got 15 plus 5, so that makes this one 20 feet. And then I got the 15 plus 10, that makes this one 25 feet. So once again, we just got to go back to our book for our last 3 drops. I always try to do the biggest one first, so we'll do this one first. Well, the longest one first. 60 feet, because 53's got to round up to 60. Even though we're closer to 50, we always round up, if you remember from class. So even if we were 50.5, we would still round up to 60. So 53, go up to 60, and we got 100K on here. So we're going to do 60 feet, 100K. We see 60 feet, 137K is enough. So that makes that a 3/4. This unit right here is a 3/4. Next, we got this next longest one. That's 25 feet, so we're going to go up to 30 for 200K. So 30 feet, 95 doesn't work. 199 doesn't work. That would work in real life, but not for the test. We need 200, so we have to go up to the next one, 374, which is a 1 inch. So that's a 1 inch right there. And then your last drop here, we already determined was at 20 feet, 75K. So 20 feet, 118 is enough. That one's a 1/2 inch. And there you have it. You add everything once. If you add it correctly, and you just got to make sure you get your numbers in the right spot. So anything that's on the yellow stays at 60 feet. If it's not highlighted, then it's its own amount of feet. For example, this one's 25 feet from the meter. 5 plus 10 plus another 10. So this one's 25 feet. This one here is 20, 10 plus 5 plus this 5. And then this one over here, it was 53 feet. And, but, so these aren't on highlights. So the highlights only pertain to that trunk line all the way back to the meter. And everything along the highlight back to the meter needs to stay at that same length, whatever we decided was our longest length. People have a tendency to add this, and they'll do this pipe right here, and because that's 15 feet to there, then they'll go to their book and they'll do 240K at 15 feet. They'll get it wrong, because that 15 feet is still part of that system that goes clear out to the 55 feet. So we need to make sure anything that's part of this system all the way back to the meter all gets done at that same length of 55 feet. Then after you get done with your trunks, then you can just go back and do these individual drops based on how far they are from the meter. Thank you. I hope that was helpful. So there you have it. Spokane Mechanics 1, proper gas piping using the branch length method. Hopefully here soon I will get a venting video posted for you guys to use in preparation for that test. And once again, thank you very much for all of your subscriptions and for supporting the page. I appreciate you. Thank you.